I'm really miffed I didn't get the proper challenging dungeon experience that I really liked back in the original Legion. A few days ago I thought, you know what, I might give this Legion remix a try. As much as Retail WoW gives me brain damage every time I log into it, I did actually really like Legion. It was the last expansion I played before I became a true classic WoW Andy. So I created my character. You get a bunch of warnings and tooltips, and as far as I understand it, you can keep the character you make for remix and play it on normal servers after the event is over. It's kind of funny actually, because the remix server is called Doomhammer, which was actually the name of the first server I ever played World of Warcraft on back in like 2004. This time I decided to roll a druid, a class I've barely ever touched, and the cool thing about being a Zandalori troll druid is that all the forms are dinosaurs.
Holy f***ing shit, it's a dinosaur, Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
It's been ages since I last played Legion. I think I literally just started university when it came out, so we're not going to talk about how long that ago was. So I did appreciate that the game immediately hits you with a moderately exciting cinematic to remind you of, what the hell was Legion even all about, because from what I can remember, the expansion, well, this was the expansion where the Burning Legion finally actually show up to kick some ass, even though they should have done it like 2 years earlier so we didn't have to suffer through Warlords of Draenor. And because everyone creams for Illidan, Blizzard totally retconned this character and made him a good guy so we could all play Demon Hunters. Anyway, we start our adventure in Dalaran. There are demons everywhere and it's our job to clean up the mess. Honestly though, the intro quests were kind of boring. They clearly just exist to kind of rush you into unlocking your artifact weapon. I'm glad they streamlined it a bit because, doing those long quest chains again would have been a bit annoying. But they later make you do a very long chain for a different artifact weapon anyway, so yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with that, to be honest. To be honest, for most of my playtime, I was just completely lost and confused and had no idea what I was supposed to be doing. At one point, I accepted a dungeon finder queue in the middle of a druid quest in Moonglade, and then when the dungeon ended, instead of being ported back to Moonglade, I spawned outside the Halls of Valor for some reason. Then I tried to fly back to Moonglade, and the world just went grey and booted me to Dalaran every time I tried to cross into Azeroth. But I noticed at level 22, you unlocked a Moonglade teleport ability, so I figured I'd just level up using the dungeon finder and teleport back later. But it turns out you can't use the teleport ability in Legion Remix for some reason. Again, I don't understand that one, so that was a complete waste of time. At this point, I was like, alright, I give up. It's time for the blue arrow to save the day. I installed Rest XP immediately and instantly it got me back on track. I pressed one button and it automatically figured out where I was in the quest chain and synced the guide perfectly. Turns out I was on the artifact quest line for the restoration druid staff, and I did need to do it as it was the most optimal thing for, maximising, just levelling up fast, I guess. It was actually pretty fun, to be honest, the quest. I actually had to do some healing on these NPCs, which are quite light, and I'm glad I turned the world tier up to heroic, so it actually felt like I was playing an actual game, because honestly, the normal world tier is just a face roll that's not even worth playing. Unfortunately, the same goes for dungeons. There's zero challenge. Most tanks just pull everything from the start of the instance to the first boss, and it's the same for every other boss. There's no pacing or tension at all. Eventually, I just started queuing as Feral, even though I'm a healer, and just spamming swipe for DPS, occasionally popping out a cat form, to pop a wild growth. I even tried them on heroic difficulty and somehow they were even easier. I think it's because I was matched with level 80s, but still, is that supposed to be the end game? Like the heroic dungeons there? Completing a dungeon in 5 minutes with a random pug, it doesn't really feel right. And why am I, at level 28, even in the same group as someone who's level 80? It just feels very weird and silly. It's a shame really, because Legion dungeons are some of the best in the game and I just don't understand why they've made them so piss easy. I get that Remix is supposed to be all about fast-paced content, but come on, make it an actual challenge. Just increase the XP reward for completing the dungeons or something so it, actually feels like you're playing a video game again. I'm really miffed I didn't get the proper challenging dungeon experience that I really liked back in the original Legion. By the way guys, before I move on, please do me an absolute solid and follow me on Instagram. I'm really trying to get up to 1,000 followers on Instagram and I've got some great content going on there soon, so be sure to check it out. It's all in the description. The only real way to level up and have the game feel like a game was by soloing the zone campaigns with heroic world tier on. And honestly, that caught me off guard, especially since I've never played a druid before, and I was dying a lot. Okay, I had to get back into that vanilla WoW mindset and stop pulling 5 mobs at once until I actually knew what I was doing. But don't worry guys, because if you don't want to learn how to play your class, Blizzard have actually added a brand new cheat button that basically cycles through your rotation one spell at a time, so you don't even have to think. You can literally just keybind it to your mouse wheel and like go and watch Netflix or something. So yeah, Blizzard have officially perfected World of Warcraft for people who don't actually like playing video games. I mean, I refuse to use it, but I did keep it on my bars just to, you know, see what order I should be pressing my abilities in, but I just find it a bonkers concept that Blizzard have implemented basically what the spell flash add-on or the rotation helper add-on like into the game. Like, why would they do that? I also really liked how you encounter bonus objectives out in the open world that grant you extra XP, but interestingly, Rested XP told me to get them so that they're almost complete and then leave them, and not to finish them immediately, and I think I know why. Each time you finish a zone, you get a permanent XP buff gain for all of your characters, so you actually want to save these bonus objectives until after you've got all of those experience buffs on your character and then complete them all together for a massive XP boost that rockets you towards max level. It's just another great reason why Rested XP is such a great add-on. Seriously, you should check out the description if you want more info. It's perfect for returning players like me who need to get back up to speed with the game, and the remix guide is way cheaper than the other leveling guides. There's also a new hub for Legion Remix that conveniently gives you access to everything that you need, so no need to run around a major city anymore. It's basically just this little floating island outside Dalaran. I also noticed that there are vendors for every single gear type you could possibly unlock in Legion, and that's when I finally started to understand what Remix really is. It's a short, fun event where you replay old Legion content to unlock all of the mounts and transmogs from that expansion. That's the main goal. It's basically one big cosmetic mini expansion. It's probably not meant to be too challenging since most players are just farming cosmetics, blasting through content and moving on. The game also showers you in loot, like constantly. You get these caches of infinite treasure from quests, dungeons, and sometimes I swear just from breathing. It makes gearing feel cheap and honestly a little bit overwhelming because you get upgrades so fast that they stop being meaningful. I get that this mode is built around farming this currency, bronze, and that you can deconstruct gear to get more of it, but still, why not just increase the bronze gain from other sources and make gearing feel like progression again? In Vanilla WoW and basically most MMOs, gear upgrades happen gradually. That's what makes them feel rewarding and impactful, but in Remix, it's the opposite. Getting new gear just feels irritating because you're constantly trying to figure out which of the 6 random chess pieces that somehow ended up in your bags are actually the best upgrade. They've also kept dragon riding in the game, which honestly was a great decision. It's completely redefined how flying mounts work and makes travelling around the world infinitely more fun and engaging. It's even better as a druid because your flight form uses the dragon riding mechanics. Flying around as a dinosaur bird thing at top speed just feels ridiculously fun and fast paced. I kind of went into this expecting the game to feel like playing Legion again, but it really doesn't. Most of the content is just so numbingly brain dead. The only time it felt remotely challenging was solo questing on heroic world tier. Even that loses its edge after about 30 minutes because you, like I said, you get so much powerful gear so quickly for basically doing nothing other than a few fetch quests, and then you're suddenly a demigod. So what's the point of Legion Remix really? Well, I guess it's ultra casual content designed to let you blast through Legion's world and dungeons, collect other cosmetics you want, and then call it a day. Maybe it gets more interesting at endgame, but honestly I wasn't hooked enough to stick around that long. So yeah, I just don't really get it. I understand that some players want to farm old expansion content for transmog, and this is definitely a more entertaining way to do it. Remix basically turns Legion into one big group transmog run instead of a solo one. But still, why not at least make the gameplay itself more challenging and rewarding? Maybe the retail audience just don't want that anymore. Maybe they just want to rush through, collect their shinies and move on. And that's fine because that's exactly what Legion Remix is. A glorified, quick and easy transmog run so you can do it with your friends. So, I hope you guys enjoyed probably the biggest retail rage bait video that you're probably going to see this year. My name is MetaGoblin. Until my next video, ciao.